Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Stargazer Cafe, where we'll talk about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Uh, so last week there was a bit of technical issues with the episode, so it had to be delayed. So this time you're going to be getting a longer episode, two for the price of
Well,
one.
I want to say longer because the last episode didn't have much of leeway besides a few points. Not much to talk about really. So probably like a couple minutes of like the last episodes, and probably gonna talk about the newer one.
Yeah, and well, I feel like the two episodes are. It's better that we did it this way because the two are a bit connected, sort of like WandaVision episode 1 and 2.
Yeah, they're kind of connected. We're talking more about the themes and doubt going along with the characters,
Yeah, it's a lot of heavy stuff these last two episodes, isn't it?
pretty much.
Yeah. So last episode, it was no, the previous episode to the new one, that was a good episode, wasn't it?
I thought it was alright. Wasn't anything I primarily thought was like astonishing like the last one, but it was pretty good but it was still pretty good by standards of the show. Was it like the best thing I've seen? Not necessarily, but was it still good? Yes.
It was pretty good. Well, it was a bit forgettable. Like I watched it like 2 days ago again to talk about it in the podcast, and I already forgot what most of it was about. Mostly because the new episode was just so shocking.
Like in a brief go like a brief synopsis of it, the most the most that you can probably take away from it is the basically the character shift of the new Captain America and how the basically the Flag Smashers are getting more deadly with their ethics and techniques at this moment, rather than just like thievery and all that, but the acceptance of casualties and like destruction of property, which the experience of this episode are far more willing to do and believe to themselves they're justified in doing so.
Yeah. Well, I this it's complicated, and I want to say I don't want to get into much detail about the politics about it because well, this show is just so deep into politics. It's pretty difficult to separate it from real world politics because of the stuff it's covering. So while I want to say that I want to avoid it, I feel like it's inevitable, and it viewer discretion. If you guys don't want to hear about politics, I'd suggest probably to stop watching about now, because it, as I said before, it is really tied with real world politics, and I'm actually surprised at how Disney is handling it. You know?
I mean, the thing of it is, it's bare bones. Like in most real world politics, it's a great middle ground. With this one, there you can obviously tell what the issue is, and you can form an opinion on it. Where in more real world politics, neither side is wrong. For show politics, it's pretty simple to get a grasp on.
Yeah, but well, I uh since it's so difficult to talk about the two episodes without connecting them, I wanna say that I
Like a
definitely
lot of
see a wrong side in this show.
like a lot of character shifting has came into these two episodes. One being the new Captain America, who's more showing of his anger, the trustworthy Azimo, and just basically the Wakanda subplot as well that's came into the show.
I feel like the Wakanda subplot isn't going to be a thing that happens for the next what's
Probably not.
yeah
They're probably not gonna resolve it because like it's pretty much like another. wrench in the coil, basically, like another issue that to deal with. Because now you have the U.S. government pretty much now aware that they broke out Zemo, and Wakanda pretty much wanting to take Zemo because of the crimes he committed against them.
Yeah, but they were going to let them capture him. They just needed him for some more time. So it
Yeah, but they only give
was,
him a certain amount of time, and by that time, it was already up. So by this point, he definitely needed because they used up all the time.
yeah, it was mostly John Walker's fault again because well, he,
That's like a big differ from like you gotta tell the difference between like the Captain America of with Steve and this one. This one's more cocky, is always rushing ahead into battle without primary thinking.
yeah, you have to be able to differentiate between the two Captain Americas because
Like
Steve Rogers represents the ideals of America. He's the good side of America. He's what America thinks of itself as. He's the more patriotic, more the best version of, that America could be. While John Walker represents some of the worst aspects of America, primarily the last administration. Uh, well, Simo put it very blatantly. You cannot tie the idea of wanting to become a superhuman without supremacism, which it's a very obvious way of saying that John Walker is going to become a white supremacist or a neo-Nazi.
yeah, no. That's way left field, and that's really based on nothing. I don't think you should say something like that based on nothing. Since there's shown no evidence of him doing that, especially considering that with more white supremacists are in the context of the show, I don't think you should be saying stuff like that
Uh,
at
com-
all.
well,
It's just an example. It's just an extreme example to him, seeing how he
mm,
correlates basically what the worst people on Earth are and what he believes to be the Avengers. That's what's correlating, not saying like, oh, this is a foreshadowing of him being literally a monster.
I mean, I see it a bit as pandering to
No, but the thing is, he's pretty much using the worst example you could use and uses
yeah,
it as like basically him making fun of the Avengers while at the same time giving his own 2 cents of what he thinks about it. Like
yeah, I
he's comparing the Avengers to this group. There's no way that's like saying this John Walker is going to become this type of person based on basically nothing of a one-hand remark of a character who he hasn't even met in person.
yeah, I agree a bit with that, but uh, the politics of it just make
No,
no,
that thing is
no.
though that
Listen, listen.
that
Let me talk. Well, I do not think that they are going to make him straight up a white supremacist. I do feel like they are going to.
that's not the definition of what a white supremacist is though.
No,
It's not what that
I
is.
know it's not the definition.
I think you should really move on from this point because I don't think you get the full grasp of this. We should move on from this point.
It's very complicated. What I want
Not
to.
necessarily because it's not necessary. I think just move on because honestly, just
Me,
that's not gonna go anywhere.
I want to say that it's very complicated and that I'm probably not able to fully explain what I want to mean because, well, as some of you may know, English is not really my main language, so it's a bit hard to for me to explain things which I want to explain, even in my own language. So
Yeah, I don't think it's
take it
really
with a bit of
fair
grain of
to
salt.
like.
What I meant.
I don't think it's really fair to like based on some a character's basically own anger and mental issues as say something that's basically been the worst thing in history. I don't think that's really fair to him because John Walker's been shown to be able to have it put together, but he has like this random bursts of anger. Like
Well,
most people can't help those sort of things. It's just something from them mentally they can't
th-
fix.
they gave a throwaway line to say that he's a war criminal.
He never said that. He said he's been a decorated, uh, respected military personnel.
Yes, he's well
It's just
commemorated, and well,
from like as of recent, it looks like all this is getting to. I'm seeing how like he's been thrown into a situation that he's already used to with a bunch of super soldiers, and he's basically useless.
well, technically speaking, right now he did commit a war crime.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
he did. He technically did because remember, even it's said in the show, the super serum has an effect on them mentally, which is happening right now. Since he was already not like
the war
he was
crime
already
was,
he was already prone to anger.
yeah, he killed an unarmed person, and he also killed someone.
I think she was lead up towards the end
All right, fuck, I'm sorry.
because I
Yeah,
gotta go over the rest of the show before dealing with the ending.
yeah. Well, uh, but well, I do not think that John Walker before the serum is a bad person. Well, as Dr. Erskine said, the serum enhances what is already there, not just the good, but the bad. And
Yeah, like he was already prone to like anger with Stone from the last episode. How he was like being really aggressive with a person they've captured, which is sure he
yeah,
didn't do anything. He might have been a little bit aggressive, but he also didn't do anything
and
too harsh.
and this is the difference between Steve Rogers and John Walker. Steve
Because honestly, like
Rogers,
Steve was like the prime example of like the best of the best of what they can give. He was always this good person that had no effect on him. He was like a rare case on most than everyone else.
yeah, and that's mostly because, well, Steve was just the 1% of people that have really no bad side to them. Like, he did have a few flaws, but they weren't like being prone to anger or like being
I
hateful
mean,
or
he was one of those few
anything.
people. He was more of those few people that were willing to help out anyone, and no matter what it brings them to him, which seen from multiple times.
Yeah,
Like compare like all the other Avengers, he's just a regular man with a shield, and yet he's participating in the worst battles ever, and still managed to come out on top. Hell, he took place in two of the biggest battles in the universe and managed to survive both.
exactly. Well, one of the key differences between John Walker is the use of firearms. Because, well, Steve did use firearms, but that was mostly in World War II, where he was actually fighting Nazis.
And it
So
was during an actual war, so
yeah,
you really couldn't have.
while John Walker, in contrast to like Falcon and Bucky, Falcon and Bucky are both soldiers. Bucky was added
Well,
added
both are like
agents.
trying to phase out from using actual guns.
Yeah,
You can tell from this career episode.
but even Steve did use firearms after World War II, but he never carried a firearm to any of his missions, even in like,
No, he pretty much relied on his own strength. And remember, John was a regular human. He
yeah,
had nothing to. He didn't need to compensate for what he was doing.
mm,
Against metahuman, against super soldier, that makes sense.
well,
But I also gotta remember, like the way they used John was completely different from Captain America.
exactly, but
Just it just seems like he's more meant for like special like missions, not really for like these big dangerous missions that they need some combatant people to go and fight.
yeah, but even when like even in, for example, when Captain America was sent by Shield to do their dirty work for the Triskelion and the big boat, he didn't even carry a farm despite him going against pirates. He purely
And
had his muscles, while we are
yeah,
shown here that young Walker
he's a general view on life. Like he does believe that he probably shouldn't be the one that takes away someone's life.
yeah, and here young Walker, who was going against revolutionaries, he was using firearms despite the clear
Well, to be
need.
fair, a lot of them were superhumans who've shown that they have no qualms with murdering people. So,
Yeah,
and
murdering
he's a
people who were
military.
hoarding resources. But go on.
Well, not really hoard resources. The point of them was like that. I mean, that was really the point of them attacking them. They weren't hoarding resources.
Well, as you may tell from one of the NPCs from this episode, he said that they were displaced and they had been promised help 6 months before the events of the show.
Well, you gotta remember, there's like half the population of Earth came back, and it's one organization trying to help out everyone that came back. Because like
Yeah,
what? There's a like billions of people on Earth, and half of the population just randomly comes back. They're not gonna be able to help everyone.
they are not exactly going to be able to give everyone top quality food.
Yeah,
But as
and
they
they're
are
just one of
shown
those
in
group,
real life,
and there's just one group of those people that decided like they didn't want to wait anymore. They want something to happen now. The
uh,
way they're doing it is not the best, but I understand what their cause is, and it's understandable.
I understand their
But
cause, and I appreciate that they are showing that
like
cause.
they're taking a step up to say like they need help as well, and they need it as much as everyone else, and they need it now. But the way they're
Yes,
doing it is not good.
yes, I feel Falcon. I agree with Falcon more on that front than the Carly. Even if I do agree with Carly's cause.
No, the cause is good, but the methods are awful. Even
Yes,
she says she's willing to let people die for a cause, which is not good.
yes,
Seeing how this is more, see, it's probably going on the month that the serum is probably getting to her, and it's making her more aggressive and letting her do these more like questionable things to get her point across, which is not good.
but
Like a noble cause, pretty much
yes,
tainted by like questionable actions.
I just want to say one thing. Carly Morgenthau wasn't a soldier, so she's actually seeing the repercussions of what she's doing and acknowledging that she's not becoming the best person after the serum.
Yeah, but yeah,
Well,
but the thing is
no, listen,
though,
listen, hear me out. Let me
no, but
talk.
no. I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, this isn't like she's doing anything to stop it. She's still going on her plan.
Let me talk. Uh, she acknowledges what Falcon says, and she understands what she's doing is wrong, and she seems to have become a bit more she seems to acknowledge what she's doing more
Yeah,
than
but acknowledging it doesn't mean
let
anything
me talk.
if you don't plan to if no, but acknowledging it does not mean anything if you don't plan to stop it. If anything, that makes it seem
We
worse
don't
that you
know
know it's wrong.
we don't know if
She knows
she's
it's wrong, but she still plans on going through all this stuff.
we
Remember, in the same episode, well, actually she acknowledges it. She threatens Sam's family just so that she could talk to him.
as someone who has done stuff that I consider wrong in the past, uh I want to say that I feel Carly a lot, and I do regret some of the decisions I took in the past. So I feel like I really hope that they don't make her character like bad.
Well,
But it,
that's all in her.
let
That's
me
all on
talk.
her primarily.
Let me talk. But John Walker. This the difference between Carly and John Walker is that John Walker sees that he does bad, but doesn't acknowledge that he's done bad. Like he killed a person in cold blood. Uh, and he doesn't seem to care or acknowledge that he did, and that's more of a show of character than anything else. And I personally feel like that's that's it's a bit difficult to properly see who is the bad guy in this situation, because yes, young Walker might be a soldier and he might be killing people without any real without following the rules in the law that he should be following, uh, which is a parallel to some real world situations. But Carly is also is they are both showing the bad sides of what they are both representing, and I feel like it's good to understand that there's good in both sides of the coin here. That John Walker might be becoming more of a bad guy, and that he will probably end up being the bad guy of the show. But at first, he did start as a good person. If you recall the first episode in which he was introduced as before the serum, in which he was shown as truly care about the position he was upholding, and it's mostly the fact that he has been failing in what he is doing right now, which is making him frustrated and angry and all of those emotions, which is something real human, which often these superheroes don't show. So I think it's a good representation of humanity as a whole in this show more than anything. What do you think, Sparta?
I think that each have their own views, and they're both representations of those views. Are either of them bad? No. One is for the security of the people, and one is for the well-being of the people. But each are doing it in like manners not really the best, which is pretty much just showing up in the show. Honestly, like Captain America is obviously going on about how he wants to protect the people that are being affected by all this, but how he's pretty much letting himself pretty much get corrupted by all this and doing more questionable things. And Carly wants to look after the people that's been left behind, but is doing more like not like I said, more questionable things to to gain that notoriety and all that.
Yes, and this is a bit of a contrast to a character like Steve. Steve represents obviously the best in humanity and the best in all of us, and he's more of a comic book character. While I feel like Carly and John Walker are really more nuanced characters than someone like Steve or even Tony Stark, because they are really shown that they are humans more than anything, you know?
I mean, yeah, like some of them sounds like really iffy with a lot of them. Some of them barely showing remorse and concern of their actions and all that. This sounds weird.
It's weird because well, humanity is weird, so while someone could acknowledge that they are doing bad, you have to remember we all think that we are the good guy in our stories, and with
I mean, it depends on how that gets to that story, though. It depends on all that.
yes, it depends, but humanity is complicated, and that's
Like your actions, the end game can go so far depending what your actions are. If your actions of where you're doing to get there is just pretty much negates whatever you're doing at the end, it really just makes like that end goal lose its value.
yes, and that's pretty important. That's a pretty important thing to keep in mind. Uh,
Because like both of them have reasonable goals and accomplishments, but the way they're doing it is not the best. One is through like more brutal methods of getting information and getting out what they need, inside of what Captain America's team is doing, and one who's like okay with basically like murder and just um basically murder of people they believe is wrong to pretty much go through their goals.
yeah. Well, now I think it's the best time to get away from the deep stuff. If you agree with me.
Yeah.
I believe they released a website about the what's Madripoor, the city, and there's a few Easter eggs about the X-Men there,
Yeah, actually
particularly
the first place where Captain America met Wolverine.
yeah, and it's pretty epic. I also enjoyed the fight scenes between the Dora Malaje. I think that's how it's pronounced. I spent a lot of time googling how to pronounce it properly, and I'm still not sure if that's even the right way.
I just call them the Wakanda Royal Guard because that's basically what they are. They're basically the Royal Guard.
Yeah, they are the royal guards. They are the
That's
red.
basically
They are the red guys in the guys in the red robes from Star Wars.
that's basically what I call them because honestly, I'm not good with pronouncing names, so that makes it easier on me to say the Wakanda Royal Guard.
Yeah, but the action scenes between the Dora Malaje and Mr. John Walker, Battlestar, and Bucky,
Yeah,
and
this shows how much leagues above them that
they
they are with John Walker. Despite not being super soldiers, they can easily take down like John and Battlestar without any effort. While Bucky and Falcon, who um have been involved with them for a while, knows a little bit more about them and knows how to at least go against them, not win, but at least do something with them.
well, I feel like Bucky could have won against one of them, but he was basically held down by the other three members of his team, mostly because the Dora Malaye were very skilled in team combat and using each other to combat the enemy, and
Not to
really.
mention the Wakandan like combat and technology in there is far more advanced what they have, and it's basically a military soldier versus the best of the best that the Wakandan military can throw at you.
Yeah. Well, and while I do
As
think that Bucky could have won against a single one of them if it was a 1v1, uh, I feel like the odds were against a proper team of uh, soldiers who know how to properly fight with each other. Because you have to remember that John Walker, Battlestar, and the other two don't really like each other that much, except for John Walker and Battlestar. So,
you know, like remember they're not super soldiers, and they still managed to beat down Captain America like it was nothing, and that really pissed them off. This
mm,
shows how useless he kind of is compared to everyone else in the old Captain America,
yeah, because Cap would have been able to hold his ground there, and probably.
or at least talk out of the situation because he is a person that much rather prefer to talk out of the situation than violence.
Yeah, and and John Walker just didn't talk at all. He just
No,
whined and
he just saw a threat and thought like, I'm gonna try and take them down. They're threatening my operation.
yeah, which is
He's very impatient.
yeah, he's a bit more impatient and like a lot of Americans. He thinks that he has jurisdiction in places that he
All
doesn't.
right, all right, all right, all right. Okay, that's still a good part, Mark.
Yeah, well, uh, I
I know
think
this show gets political, but there's no need to keep inserting political
right,
things
right,
within an unrelated topic. Even though
right.
this
I'm
is
sorry.
more of a joking conversation at the moment because
Right,
I just think
I'm
it's
sorry. I'm
funny how
sorry.
yeah, I just think it's funny how John got his butt kicked less than like want to say 2 minutes in the fight.
Yeah, Young got his butt kicked. Uh, and well, it must be really humiliating for him to have gotten his butt kicked despite thinking he is like the best of the best America can offer.
Yeah, which honestly it wouldn't mean nothing because I would assume the military has been given information about the two Thanos battles and Wakanda in general.
Yeah, but
Like,
I don't really think John Walker would have made a cut for Shield. So I don't feel like he was cut for the
I
battle.
mean, Shield is specialized in psychopaths apparently right now, so I want to cut against them.
Well, I considering he's a psychopath, I wouldn't consider him not being part of
Yeah,
Shield.
Crossbones wasn't Shield, and he wasn't mentally all there either.
Sidwell and the rest of the Hydra agents,
Exactly.
but Shield is dead, kinda.
Yeah, just like technically the Avengers are as well.
Yeah, and I feel like Mr. Simo Scaping is really teasing the Thunderbolts or the Masters of Evil. This Simo doesn't feel to me like he's going to go for the Masters of Evil though.
I mean,
Uh,
it seems like what he care about is pretty much getting rid of the super soldiers, which he technically has done. Got rid of the serums, and all that's left is getting rid of the ones that are still around, which is Carly's group
and
and
Bucky.
Bucky.
And probably Isaiah Bradley.
I don't think he knows he exists. He knows there's one, but he doesn't know who he's specifically.
Yeah, but he would probably get information out of
Another thing
Bucky
is the
somehow.
thing is though, he's like been an actor for years, and he doesn't seem like the type of person to actually go after someone like that without that doesn't really benefit them.
I have a question. Considering that the serum enhances the good in all of us and all that stuff, do you think Isaiah Bradley was more like Steve Rogers, or do you think he was more like
Seeing
John
how he was
Walker?
seeing how he was prone to snapping at them when we first met, I think he was able to keep it together, but maybe there was a lapse in his move was something to break.
Well, considering
See
he
how
was
see
30 years in prison with people constantly putting needles on his body.
yeah. So I'm pretty sure over time he became more irritable and less talkative to people, especially within the military and all that.
Yeah. Well,
So with the serum still inside of him, he probably got way more aggressive.
more than he would probably have been considering. Well, his depiction before becoming before well all of the prison stuff happening in the comics is that he's a pretty nice guy actually, and he cares about people. So it wouldn't surprise me if once he was more like Steve Rogers than Mr. John Walker. But we I don't really think we'll get to see more of Isaiah Bradley outside of like maybe cameos. So
Unless they do an entire series based off like the past heroes of before the Avengers.
honestly, I could see Isaiah Bradley showing on What If,
Maybe.
considering the whole Agent Carter thing. But what else is there to talk about this episode? Oh
I mean,
yeah,
it is
you go on.
basically how like the entire events of these last few scenes pretty much influenced John in thinking like he's far more useless than he should be, and honestly needs something to actually bring it up to par with everyone else, which is bringing more frustrated because he's supposedly the person that was most trusted to be Captain America based on his record. Despite that, he's basically far useless.
Yeah,
Seeing he's barely go toe to toe with a single super soldier.
I have to say Wyatt Russell is doing an amazing job at being John Walker. Like he's shown his anger, his emotions really well of the character. So I think he's doing a great job about it. And it's a shame that he's getting all that hate because, well, he is basically acting out as Captain America's replacement, which I think is really sad that
It's just people who can't differentiate
between
things like
reality.
this who yeah, it's just people who like associate this with like people breaking something of their they hold sacred and assuming it's gone forever. It's a show. It's not that big of a deal. Don't bring hate onto a character you don't like. It like with the Rose Tico situation, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, it's like a
It's
lot of situations, honestly.
yeah, it's dumb. As long as they handle a character decently and it makes it interesting to watch, like what? There's no big deal on it. Sure,
Like,
you have the right to dislike a character, but you shouldn't threaten the actor who plays them.
yeah, like I get if you don't act like the acting or the character, but going as far as to say bad things towards the actor is not something I think you guys should do.
No, you should be able to take it with a grain of salt and see how they handle it, not just all about saying like, "Oh, this is awful. I hate this person," whatever, and sending harassment threats and all that.
Yeah, that's it's bad situation, honestly.
Yeah,
But on the topic of John Walker, today in this episode it was shown that he really is
basically lost it.
impatient.
He basically lost it, honestly.
He said 10 minutes and he didn't even wait. Like, if he makes popcorn, is he going to punch the microwave because they aren't ready yet, or what?
I mean, you can't wait 2 minutes for popcorn.
I doubt he can, honestly.
Can you?
I can.
Uh huh.
I have waited like 2 minutes for popcorn before. I have waited on the line at the theater before the COVID, so I have patience. It might be low patience, but I have it. Um, and well, I am a bit sad about the handling of Lamar's character. Um,
Yeah, you kill them off.
yeah, Battlestar in the comics is it's he's a bit more
I mean,
interesting.
he's forgettable in the comics as well.
Yeah, people don't seem to realize that these are characters straight from the comics. And think some I have seen some people think they are new characters just introduced for this situation specifically. Yeah, but they are
Nah.
but they are forgetting
We gotta
that.
understand, like, gotta understand, like, a main majority of the Marvel fan base don't really read the comics.
Yeah, and well,
There's hardly a situation where they introduce a movie-only character. There's only a few situations where that's actually happened.
like who? I can't even
I
remember.
believe I believe Ned was a movie original character.
The Spider-Man guy?
Yeah.
No, he was from the comics. I believe he's one
No,
of my
no, I think he
friends.
was based off the Ultimate Comics, but I think Ned specifically was movie specific
Oh
character.
yeah, his
He's
personality is more movie specific.
Yeah, but he was based off the Ultimate Comics, but he's primarily movie specific.
A lot of characters that are not really the main characters are really movie specific and exclusive because their comic counterparts aren't like that most of the time. A big example is like Hella, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's
I
pretty
mean,
interesting.
they tweak characters like his characters are very like Marvel. They tweaked his character being a woman and all that.
Yeah,
And
Marvel was
Carly,
cool.
they tweaked her character to being a woman instead of a man.
Yeah, and I watched this episode today in English, and I believe her accent is Irish, which is fun. It
I
it
mean, the
it
problem,
doesn't
like the,
Irish.
I mean, like yeah, basically the Flag Smashers pretty much take place around like the European countries. What it seems like.
Yeah. Also, the guy that got killed by a young walker. It was for me. It was a bit of a gut punch because he was explaining in a scene about how he loved Captain America and the symbol of hope that he represented for him once, and imagine being murdered by your childhood hero. Like I really,
Technically, that's not his childhood hero. That's basically like a bastardization of his childhood hero. It's basically like a crappy comic book reboot of the hero you loved, and now you just can't look at them the same.
exactly like let me
Like
think.
New 52 from DC, how they pretty much ruined a bunch of their old characters and that until they rebooted them.
Yes, or what's his name? Sonic Boom. I personally don't like Sonic Boom and haven't even seen the cartoon, so I take my opinion with a grain of salt about Sonic Boom. But yeah, it's this episode was just filled with deep stuff, wasn't it?
A lot, honestly. The ending was very shocking because when I was watching with a friend, we were just like surprised and shocked about the ending. Like, damn, they actually went that far to show Captain America killing someone.
I wasn't expecting the blood. I have to say I'm honestly
I mean,
surprised
honestly, I
with
thoroughly enjoyed the ending for more sadistic reasons, but
I enjoyed the ending because it's shown that like this guy is it's not Steve Rogers and he has
I
the
mean, oh yeah,
file the
definitely.
icon of Steve Rogers
It just shows more of like how they much differ, and like I said, I enjoy for more sadistic reasons.
and like
Um,
the symbolism behind his suit and like the shield and everything like that is just it's a gut punch.
yeah, basically now everyone knows he pretty much committed a war crime.
No, I don't think everyone will know.
It was recorded.
The government will probably hide it.
No, it was recorded and put everywhere. They literally can't hide it.
You think
It's
that
something
just
that
because something is recorded, the
it's literally
government
something they can't hide. It's literally they can't do anything about that.
it happens every day.
They literally can't hide this, that Captain America has committed literally a war crime.
Different points
It'll
of
start
view,
small. It'll start
two persons
small.
from
It'll
different
start
countries.
small. Then it'll basically go everywhere. Especially, yeah, this is a different country. They have no jurisdiction over there.
Well, you're right about it, but most companies are based on the United States. Twitter, Google, all of those.
Even so, even if they don't do anything, Bucky and Falcon would do something about it because they know that they can't allow someone like this to be called Captain America. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that's how they get the shield back. They pretty much like beat it out of him.
Also, the acting on Anthony Mackie's part and what's the name of Bucky's actor?
Sebastian Stan.
Sebastian Stan, right? Their acting on that scene was just great. Like Sam Wilson looking at the scene like he's shocked that it happened and like he wasn't expecting it, and it's such a gut punch to him. Well, for Bucky, he's just angry and like he seems to have known this would happen, and he's just angry, you
I
know?
mean, he's more angry on the fact that the legacy of his dear childhood friend basically was scorned by someone who didn't even earn the right to take the mantle, and now
Exactly.
the name of Captain America is ruined because he really couldn't handle the pressure of it.
Yes, there's a lot of emotions to unpack from these scenes that I think will be great in the future for like the
Yeah,
character
like Sam
development.
is Sam's like experiencing regret and sadness of the situation that he kind of allowed this to happen, while Bucky is upset that, like I said, his friend's legacy is basically tainted.
Yeah. Also, I heard that there will be more cameos in the future of the show, which I'm not really looking forward to, as like they are actually going to happen because well, WandaVision really didn't nail the Easter eggs and cameos on that part. I mean, I still think Ralph Boner was funny, but yeah, I know a lot of people were disappointed, including you.
Yep.
So, not really looking forward to whatever cameo might be, since it
I mean,
could be
so far the
disappointing.
show is doing way better than what they're doing with WandaVision's last 3 episodes. Like they have 2 more episodes left, and so far they're still keeping up like the twists and spins, even like in the last 2 episodes are coming.
Yeah. Well, what did you think about the whole episode?
Really good, and also on the fact like, is this what Captain America is capable of? Was that also on the fact that how much Captain America was holding back with his fights?
Yeah, like Captain America really held back in his fights, and it's shown in the fact
It
that
shot,
this guy just decapitated someone with the shield.
and this was a super soldier,
Yeah,
so
so
it took much longer to do.
so imagine what he would have done to a normal person.
Like now, just looking back at the Iron Man fight with him, think how much he probably held back so he wouldn't actually hurt Iron Man.
Yeah. Oh, and the cinematic parallels between him hitting the chest of the Iron Man suit versus Young Walker hitting that guy's neck. That was just
Yeah,
amazing.
and
It's
seeing how's like Carly, a super soldier with no training, managed to crush a regular guy's chest in with one punch with ballistic armor. You can show how much Steve holds back.
yeah. Also,
That goes a little well. Like think about it. Think of that elevator scene in Winter Soldier.
he didn't kill anyone there.
He barely hurt anyone. They managed to get up right after.
Exactly, and well, uh, this reminds me of the quote from Doctor Erskine from like Captain America and the First Avenger, where he says that the people who always have had power don't appreciate it as much as the people who always had power.
I mean,
Yeah,
this goes up more on like, damn, he didn't like. If one punch could kill a regular guy through armor, Captain America was able to pretty much knock all those guys out without actually barely any harm to them.
without any effort.
Exactly.
Yeah, well,
And isn't like this old one not as powerful as the new one's not as powerful as the old one?
I don't think this Captain America is as powerful as Steve.
I know in the comics, the U.S. agent is stronger than Captain America, but I don't think this new one is as strong though.
In the comics, Young Walker is a bit stronger than Captain America.
He's
Um,
basically as strong as Spider-Man in the comics.
yeah, but he is not as smart, so he kind of gets his ass kicked by Steve sometimes.
Like I don't know if they ever mentioned it, like how strong the serum that they recreated in the MCU is.
Yeah,
Unless it's a complete replica or it's just like slightly modified, we don't know. But like I said, it just shows how much Captain America holds back all his punches when he's fighting someone,
I feel
even
like
like bad guys.
I feel like it's weaker because it doesn't enhance the muscles. And my logic here is that
Oh yeah, true. Did it say they made it so where it has no physical strain on the body, which I would assume is a big thing.
it's they said it's more subtle, but
Yeah.
my main source of logic about why this Captain America is weaker is because well, his muscles don't really grow, and like, well, yes, Steve's muscles did grow a lot.
I mean, would it matter? Because I would assume the same amount of strength is there, but just the amount of bulk built up probably won't matter much.
No, think about it. Like, if
No,
the
I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but with the super solar serum in general, would it actually matter?
probably, like, if
Like I
you
said,
have strength and
Carly with no training, as with any sort of combat, punched right through Battlestar's armor and caving in his chest
yeah, but now imagine Steve who has the original serum, and he was
and
basically,
training.
yeah, buffed up from doing exercise like pretty much daily, versus Mr. Battlestar who, or yeah, I mean John Walker, who has done exercise daily, but his muscle mass didn't really grow, and he seems smaller than Steve.
Yeah,
Um,
and remember, he's
go on. Hello.
hello.
Uh, you were saying. You were saying.
Thing cut out a bit. Okay, back to what I was saying. Like John Walker is a standard military personnel. He hasn't had the same training as Captain America has, so that really says a lot.
Yeah. Well, I don't think he has the same training as Captain America because Captain America went on board Shield for a while, and he fought with Black Widow, who's it's she seems to be able to handle her ground even against the Dora Malaya, which is a bit surprising.
I mean, well, Bucky has.
Bucky has, and Steve almost lost to Bucky in the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, but he was like confused and taken by surprise. And when he found it was Bucky, he basically couldn't do anything about it. And Bucky's fighting style is more aggressive. Well, even fighting someone like that, Cap didn't really try to fight back or anything.
Yeah. Well, I really like this episode. I thought it was very fun. I really enjoyed the action set pieces. I enjoyed the lore that it added, the character
I
interactions.
I do enjoy like the aspect of them questioning everyone's methods and saying like, are they really right? Are they really wrong? Thinking of like make you think highly about everyone's actions.
Yeah,
Because technically, in a wider spectrum of things, neither side is wrong, but the way they're doing it is not good either.
yeah. This show is really from the perspective of each person. Well, as shown here from the podcast, like the perspective between me and Sparta is clearly different about Carly, and I feel like that has to do with the country you were born from a bit. For example, it might influence me a bit in my way of thinking.
I don't really think it has anything to matter, honestly. I think it's more like personal, like perspective on the character. I don't think outside means mean anything. That doesn't really correlate. Trust me.
it depends on.
Trust me. No, trust me. If you knew my personal life, you knew that doesn't matter at all.
Okay, well, it was a fun episode, and this was a fun episode of the podcast as well. I enjoyed talking with you, Sparta, even if we disagree.
I'm a very pessimistic person.
Yeah, I know you are. Did you enjoy talking
But
this episode?
honestly, it was pretty good.
Yes.
Can't wait
Um.
for the next 2 episodes. Like, hope each one's an hour long as well.
Yeah. At first, I thought this episode wasn't an hour long, and until I noticed how much time it had passed between when I started watching and when I finished.
Yeah. It actually felt like one of some of like WandaVision that felt like only like 20 minutes despite being 30 to 40.
Yeah. Well, uh, I think we this is already gone for too long. It's almost an hour of episode. Do you want to cut it out here, Sparta, or is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, there's really not much to say, honestly. We give our perspective and like how they're finally showing um John being his more comic accurate counterpart, which is more prone to anger version since he got the serum he found on the floor.
Yes. So. Uh. Thank you everyone for watching. I don't really have anything else to say about the episode. I really said everything I had in my mind about it. Uh, this was a great episode. I really enjoyed talking, and I hope to see you guys in the next week. I hope to get back on the recording normal content for the channel. I have been a bit occupied, so that. I'm sorry about that. Well, remember to like, subscribe, comment, all that stuff. Check out the Discord because there's some pretty funny memes in there, and like, remember, stay fresh. Say goodbye, Sparta.
More Sock Zemo inside the show. We only had it for like 3 minutes in the last one.
Yeah, we need more Simo. Thank you everyone for
We
watching. Uh, go on.
And then I was gonna say we need more Zemo inside his sock mask.
Yes, we need more Simo inside his sock mask, and I'm glad we got the extended dance scene.
Yes, thank you, Marvel, for the hour and 12 minutes of Zemo dancing. You
Yes,
really showed off his Tobey Maguire moves.
yes. Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next week, where we'll talk about the next episode, and hopefully there won't be any technical issues next time. Goodbye,
I can
everyone.
help about it.
Shut up.